Dear friends, in Buddhism we speak of a kind of body called Dharma body. Every one of us as human, we need a spiritual dimension. Without a spiritual dimension, it's difficult for us to confront, to solve the difficulties that present themselves in our daily life. You have your physical body, but you should have your Dharma body. Your Dharma body is your spiritual practice. In the Buddhist tradition, if we have a good practice, we are no longer afraid because we know how to deal with the difficulties that present themselves every day. A good Buddhist practitioner should be able to handle a feeling of pain, a feeling of despair. A good practitioner should be able to handle a strong emotion like fear, anger, hate. A good practitioner should be able to generate a feeling of joy and happiness whenever she wants. A good practitioner should be able to use the practice of deep listening, compassionate listening, and gentle speech in order to restore communication and reconcile. All these things are recommended by the Buddha. Dharma body is our practice, our body of practice. And if we have a solid Dharma body, a solid practice. And then wherever you go, we are no longer afraid. We can meet situation with calm and peace and confidence. When we come to attend a retreat, 5 days or 7 days, that's what we want to learn. We want to have a practice so that you can handle the difficulties in our life. And during that time, we practice together with the Sangha. And we exchange our understanding and experiences with the members of the community of practice. The expression Dhammakaya, Dhamma body, later on has a different meaning. In Mahayana Buddhism, it means the wonders of life. In Buddhism, we do not speak about God and the kingdom of God, but we do speak about the Dhammakaya. And the blue sky, the beautiful river, the mountains, the flowers are all expression of the Dhammakaya. And many Zen masters have written poetry about the beauty, about the wonders of life as expression of the body of the Dhammakaya. When you contemplate a flower like the one in front of us, if we have enough mindfulness and concentration, we can get in touch deeply with the flower. And we can recognize that the flower belongs to the realm of the Dhammakaya. In the Christian tradition, we can say that the flower belongs to the kingdom of God. It is a wonder. With the Buddhist practice, we get the energy of mindfulness and concentration that allowed us to get in touch deeply with the flower, that wonder of life that is there. And as we know that it belongs to the kingdom of God, you know that you are capable of touching the kingdom of God in the here and the now. You are capable to touch the pure land of the Buddha in the here and the now. With the practice of mindfulness and concentration, the kingdom of God or the pure land of the Buddha is available in the here and the now. There is a French writer whose name is André Gide. He said that God is happiness. Many of us used to describe God in terms of love. God is love. But André Gide liked to describe God as happiness. This is a very original, beautiful way of talking about God. If God, and he also said God is available 24 hours a day. It means happiness is possible at any time if you know how to get in touch with it. If you know how to get in touch with the God and the kingdom of God. The same thing is true with the Dhammakaya. With mindfulness and concentration, you can be in touch with the wonders of life, as expressed in the violet bamboo trees or the yellow chrysanthemums. If God is available 24 hours a day, and then His kingdom should be available 24 hours a day also. And how to get in touch with the kingdom? In the light of Buddhist practice, that's not difficult. If you breathe in mindfully, and be aware of your in-breath. You bring your mind home to your body. And when your mind is with your body, you are truly there in the here and the now. And being established in the here and the now, you can get in touch with that flower, that chrysanthemum, that beautiful full moon, which belongs to the pure land of the Buddha, which belongs to the kingdom of God. In our daily life, very often our body is there, but our mind is elsewhere. We are caught in the sorrow, in the regret concerning the past, or we are caught in the fear, in the uncertainty concerning the future. We are caught in our projects, our fear, our anger. Our mind is not there with our body. We are not truly there. The practice of mindful breathing recommended by the Buddha help us to bring our mind home to our body. And when our mind is with our body, we are back in the here and the now, fully present, fully alive. And we can get in touch with the wonders of life that are available in the here and the now. The Buddha said that the past is already gone and the future is not yet there. There is only one moment when you can be truly alive, that is the present moment. And the present moment has all the wonders of life in it. So the basic practice recommended by the Buddha is to go home to the present moment. And that can be done just by one in-breath or one step made in mindfulness. The practice of mindful breathing, the practice of mindful walking are not too difficult. And they allowed us to go home to the here and the now in order to live deeply every moment given to us to live. When we breathe in mindfully, breathe out mindfully, or when we walk mindfully with every step, we generate the energy of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the kind of energy that allowed us to know what is happening in the present moment. And mindfulness is always mindfulness of something. When you breathe in mindfully, and that is mindfulness of breathing. When you drink your tea mindfully, that is mindfulness of drinking. When you walk mindfully, that is mindfulness of walking. And when we do things mindfully, we are always in the here and the now, and we are living deeply every moment of our daily life. And that is the basic practice recommended by the Buddha. In the Sutra of Mindful Breathing, the Buddha proposed 16 exercises. And the first 4 help us to take care of our body. The first exercise is very simple. Breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. Breathing out, I know this is my out-breath. You are aware that an in-breath is going on. You are aware that your out-breath and out-breath is going on. The exercise is very simple. You focus your attention on your in-breath and your out-breath. And because of that, you release the past, you release the future, and you come home to the present moment. It's like a miracle. It takes only a few seconds for us to get free from the sorrow and the regret concerning the past and the fear and the uncertainty concerning the future. Freedom is what we get when we breathe in mindfully or make a mindful step. And the second exercise of mindful breathing is to follow your in-breath all the way through. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath from the beginning to the end. Breathing out, I follow my out-breath from the beginning to the end. It means that you are fully concentrated on your in-breath and your out-breath, and you release everything else. And by practicing the second exercise like that, you cultivate more concentration. And mindfulness and concentrations always bring insight. And insight has the power to liberate, to set you free. And insight or enlightenment is not something very far away. You can get it in a few seconds also. Suppose you breathe in mindfully. And while breathing mindfully, you notice that you are there, alive. Because a person who is already dead does not breathe in anymore. And because you are breathing in and you are aware that you are breathing in, you know that you are alive. And to be alive is a miracle. And just breathe in and you touch the miracle of being alive. And when you breathe out, you have the time to celebrate the fact that you are alive. And to know that you are alive is already an insight. And that is brought to you by mindfulness of breathing. And you can enjoy your in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in, you don't have to make any effort. You don't have to struggle to fight with your in-breath. You just allow yourself to breathe normally. You just pay attention to your in-breath. And those of us who practice mindful breathing, we feel wonderful breathing in. We enjoy breathing in and breathing out. Whether we are in a sitting position or in a lying position or in a walking meditation, breathing in and out mindfully can bring a lot of joy. It's a pleasant. And if while breathing in you suffer, breathing out you suffer, well, you know that your practice is not correct. Life is already full of suffering. Why do you have to suffer more by practicing Buddhism? So sitting should be pleasant, walking should be pleasant, breathing should be pleasant. And that is why the Buddha said the Dharma is lovely in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. The Dharma can bring joy and peace and happiness right away. You don't have to wait. The third exercise of mindful breathing is to become aware of our body. Breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. That is to bring the mind home to the body. For the mind to reconcile with the body. And when you are back to your body, you might notice that there is a lot of tension and pain in your body. We have allowed a lot of tension to be accumulated into our body. We have worked our body too hard. We have not treated our body with tenderness and compassion. And the tension in our body is the foundation for all kinds of sickness. That is why with the fourth exercise of mindful breathing, the Buddha recommended that we release the tension in the body. Breathing in, I release the tension in my body. In a sitting position like this, or in a lying position, you can always allow the tension to be released by breathing in mindfully, breathing out mindfully. And a good practitioner should be able to to do that, to make use of these exercises in order to take care of his or her body. Sitting on a bus, you might like to practice mindful breathing and release the tension and then enjoy what is happening in the present moment. With the fifth exercise of mindful breathing, a practitioner can recognize a feeling of joy, a feeling of, or she can generate a feeling of joy. And with the sixth exercise, he can generate a feeling of happiness. According to the Buddhist teaching, a practitioner should be able to generate a feeling of joy or a feeling of happiness whenever she wants. And how? The teaching of the Buddha is very clear. You use the techniques of mindfulness and concentration and release in order to bring joy and happiness. When you breathe in mindfully, you bring your mind home to your body, and you establish yourself in the here and the now. And because of that, you recognize that there are so many conditions of happiness that are already available in the here and the now. Suppose we try the exercise of breathing in and become aware of our eyes. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. We use the energy of mindfulness to recognize the existence of our eyes. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes. And when you breathe in mindfully and become aware of your eyes, you may get the insight that your eyes are still in good condition. It's wonderful to still have eyes in good condition. A paradise of forms and colors is available to you just because you still have eyes in good condition. You only need to open your eyes in order to enjoy that paradise of forms and colors. And having good eyes is one condition of happiness that you do have. And you might like to continue. Breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. And this is recommended by the Buddha in the Sutra on the contemplation of the body in the body. The Buddha say, suppose there is a farmer who goes up to the cellar and bring down a bag of seeds. And he opened one end of the bag and allowed all the seeds to flow in the bag to flow on the floor. And with eyes still in good condition, he recognized every kind of seed that flow on the floor. This is the seed of kidney bean, this is the seed of corn, this is the seed of mung beans, etc. So the practitioner does the same thing. Using mindful breathing, he recognizes his eyes, smile to his eyes, and goes down, recognize nose, tongue, lungs, heart, kidney, liver. It's like scanning the body with the energy of mindfulness. In our hospitals, we have a scanner using X-ray. But in the Buddhist practice, we use the ray of mindfulness in order to scan our body, to visit all parts of our body, and to smile to it. That help to release the tension, that help to heal. So breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. you use the energy of mindfulness generated by the practice of mindful breathing in order to recognize the presence of your heart. And you might get the insight right away that your heart still functions normally. And that is good news. Because that those of us who do not have a normal heart like that, they can be subjected to a heart attack at any time. And the deepest desire is to have a normal heart like ours. So when you pay attention to your heart with mindfulness, you might discover that your heart is one of the conditions of happiness that you do have. Your heart functions day and night, do not have the time to go to sleep. And yet many of us have not treated our heart nicely. We might have, we might smoke, we might drink alcohol, we might stay up late in the night. We have not been very kind to our heart. So when we go back to our heart and embrace our heart with the energy of mindfulness, we are sending love to our heart. And we may like to make the commitment to take good care, better care of our heart. So that is a meditation on love directed to our heart also. So the Buddha recommends that you visit all parts of your body and pay attention to every part of the body and send the energy of compassion and love to every part of the body. This is the practice of deep, total relaxation that each practitioner should know how to do. And when you come to a place that is ailing, you might like to stop longer. You might like to hold that organ in your body longer with the energy of mindfulness. And that will help the healing to take place more quickly. Of course, you might like to continue with your medicines, but you can do better. You can use the practice of mindful breathing, embracing the ailing part of your body, and that will make the healing happen more quickly. So when we practice visiting all parts of our body, we can recognize there are so many conditions of happiness that are there within us. And when we touch the environment, we recognize other conditions of happiness. And mindfulness allowed us to recognize the fact that we do have more conditions, more than enough conditions to be happy right here and right now. We do not have to run into the future and look for more conditions of happiness. One of the basic teachings of the Buddha is you can be happy and joyful right in the here and the now. Hiện Pháp lạc trú. The Sanskrit expression is Drishta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Dwelling, living happily right in the present moment. That day, the businessman Anattapanika, together with the 500 businessmen, came to visit the Buddha. And the Buddha knew that the businessmen think a little bit too much about the future. So on that day, he gave a discourse on how to be happy right here and right now. Many of us sacrifice the present for the sake of the future. Many of us do not have the capacity to live deeply the moment present. And we believe that happiness is possible only in the future. But the teaching of the Buddha is that you don't have to go to the future and seek for happiness. Happiness is available, is possible in the here and the now. Just breathe in mindfully and go home to the here and the now, and you recognize that you will see that you have more than enough conditions to be happy already. The French have a song, Qu'est-ce qu'on attend pour être heureux? Why do you have to wait? You can be happy right now. So the practitioner coming home to the here and the now recognize all the wonders of life available in the here and the now. And she recognized that there are so many conditions of happiness that are already available. And she can generate a feeling of joy. She can generate a feeling of happiness right away. Because she needs nourishment and healing. And according to the teaching and the practice of Buddhism, you should know how to generate a feeling of joy, a feeling of happiness for your nourishment and healing. Because later on, you may have to handle a painful feeling or a painful emotion. So the fifth exercise and the sixth exercise is to generate a pleasant feeling, a joyful feeling, a happy feeling. And we can do that for ourselves, and we can help our partner, the other person, to do that. And then the seventh exercise of mindful breathing is to recognize a painful feeling, a painful emotion. Many of us do not know how to handle a painful feeling, a painful emotion. And many young people believe that in order to end the suffering caused by a strong emotion, the only way is to go and kill themselves. There's so many young people committing suicide in our society. The Buddha told us how to handle a painful feeling, a painful emotion. He said, suppose someone is hit by an arrow. There is pain in the body. And suppose a few minutes later, a second arrow come and strike exactly at the same spot. And the pain not only double, it can be 100 times more intense. So we should try to avoid the second arrow to come and strike us. And what is the second arrow? When there is some physical pain, with mindfulness or breathing, we recognize it is a physical pain and do not exaggerate. Do not allow fear, anger to come and magnify the pain. If we allow fear, anger, revolt to come, we suffer much more, and that is the second arrow. And this is what the Buddha recommends. It may be a minor pain that you can handle. And with mindfulness and concentration, you'll recognize things as they are, and you do not exaggerate. And we should train in order to to follow this practice. When a strong emotion comes, we should not allow us to continue the thinking about it, because it may fit the emotion. The method recommended by our teachers is to bring your attention down to the abdomen and pay attention to the rise and fall of your abdomen when you breathe in and out. Breathing in, I notice that my abdomen is rising. Breathing out, I notice that my abdomen is falling. And you focus your attention only on your in-breath, your own breath, and the fall and the rising and falling of your abdomen. It is like the emotion is like a storm, and if we know how to handle, we will survive the storm easily. While breathing in and out, we can remember that one emotion is just one emotion. Emotions are impermanent. They come, they stay for some time, and they have to go after a while. And we are much more than one emotion. Why we should die just because of one emotion? It is a very simple truth. You are much more than an emotion. An emotion can last maybe half an hour or 1 hour. And you have to go, why do you have to die because of one emotion? And nobody has told a young person. And that is why when she is overwhelmed by an emotion, she tries to kill herself. So a good practitioner should know how to practice mindful deep breathing with our abdomen when there is a strong emotion. It's like holding the trunk of a tree. During the time of a storm, if you look at the tree in the backyard, you see that if you focus your attention on the top of the tree, you have the impression that the tree is very vulnerable. It can be blown away by the wind at any time. But when you focus your attention on the trunk of the tree, you see that the tree is deeply rooted in the earth, and you see that the tree will stand. So we are like a tree. The brain is only the top of the tree, and during the storm of the emotion, we should not stay here and continue to think and to imagine. We should bring our attention down to the level of the navel, the Dandian spot. And we should follow the practice of mindful breathing, deep breathing, and pay attention to only the rise and the fall of the abdomen. And we feel safe, and the emotion cannot do anything to us. There's only one thing to remember: an emotion is just an emotion. I know how to handle an emotion. But we do not wait until we have an emotion, a strong emotion, in order to begin learning. We will forget. That is why we have to begin the practice right now. And if we practice 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every time 5-7 minutes, and then we use to the practice of mindful deep breathing. And next time when a strong emotion comes, we will certainly remember to practice. And after we have survived an emotion, we have confidence in the practice. We tell ourselves that next time when the strong emotion comes, we will do just that. And we can help our children to do it too. You can hold the hand of your little boy or little girl and you say, darling, let us breathe together. Breathing in, I notice that my abdomen is falling, is rising. Breathing out is falling. And you channel your mindfulness to the child. And you teach him, to teach her to breathe deeply and stop the thinking and pay attention only to the rise and fall of the abdomen. And your child will learn. And when he has a strong emotion, he would know how to do in order to survive the emotion. I think parents should know how to practice that and transmit the practice to their children. I also believe that the school teachers should know the practice and transmit the practice to students in their class. Because the young people in our time, they suffer a lot of fear, anger, despair. And the young people, when they suffer too much, they think of suicide. And that is why we should be able to help them by, first of all, mastering the techniques of practice. So the seventh exercise of mindful breathing is to recognize a painful feeling, a painful emotion. And the eighth one is to embrace and to release the tension. The energy of mindfulness is the kind of energy that we generate with the practice of mindful walking or mindful breathing. When the energy of anger or fear arises, a practitioner knows how to handle that fear, that anger. She begins right away to practice mindful breathing or mindful walking and generate the energy of mindfulness, the second source of energy. The first energy is the energy of fear or anger. The second source of energy generated through practice is the energy of mindfulness. And mindfulness is recognizing fear and anger and embrace tenderly the energy of fear or anger. There is no attempt to fight or to suppress. That is violent. Buddhist meditation is characterized by non-violence. You are mindfulness, but you are also that fear, that anger. You should not do violence to yourself. A mother working in the kitchen, hear the baby crying. She put down whatever she's holding and goes to the room of the baby. And the first thing she does is to pick up the baby and hold the baby tenderly into her arms. She does not know what is wrong with the baby, and yet holding the baby tenderly like that can already make the baby suffer less, because the energy of tenderness of the mother has already begun to penetrate into the body of the baby. Remember when we were young and we had a fever, our mother came and she put her hand on our forehead. She has not done anything much, but feeling that her hand is on our forehead is suffer less already. So this is exactly what a practitioner should do when fear or anger arises. We should not allow fear or anger to overwhelm us. We should do something. And that something is to practice mindful breathing, mindful walking, in order to generate the energy of mindfulness. And that is the mother holding the child. The energy of mindfulness and concentration is the mother recognize the suffering of the baby and hold the baby in her arms. Although we don't know what is the root of our anger or fear, but just recognizing and holding tenderly our fear, our anger, that can already bring some relief. You are in a sitting position or walking position, you continue your practice of generating the energy of mindfulness and concentration, and you can handle, you can take care of your anger. My dear little anger, my dear little fear, I know you are there. I will take good care of you. There is no attempt to fight or to suppress. There is a willingness to recognize, to embrace, and to relieve the suffering. And the teaching of the Buddha